What is up, family of YouTube? I just got some stuff in for the old Pajero here, the 3.5 GDI. And of course, before I do anything, I like to research a bit and find out tips, tricks, how-tos, you name it. So what we're doing today is I'm going to do a engine oil flush. I just got my box of goodies here from AMSOIL. So I got some diff fluid, I got some oil filters, and I got the oil, and I got this. So I'm going to be putting this in the truck, running it for 15 minutes and then dropping the oil. And there's actually really good reviews on this stuff. So when I bought the truck, or the Pajero, whatever you want to call it, it's not really a truck. This one's actually on a unibody, so calling it a truck is farther from the truth than the 4Runner. But when I bought it, the importer slash previous owner said that the oil was changed and the coolant was changed upon arrival. But I checked the oil, it looks a little dirty to me, so I'm going to flush it and change the oil. That's, when I get all my vehicles, even when the STI came over, I did that. It's just a good thing to have. I even have my oil change chart up there. So I'm gonna add the Pajero to it since the 4Runner is gone. And I'm gonna try to give you guys a little, I guess, how to change the oil in this thing. Because when I search it up on YouTube, nothing pops up for the 3.5 GDI. It's mostly diesels. So follow along and hope you enjoy. All right, everyone, to start off, we have the 4 bolts on the skid plate. There is one here, one at the same spot at the back, and they're on both sides. So I'm gonna take the skid plate off with the 4 bolts and make sure everything looks normal. And then I'm gonna put the oil engine flush in. I have to put it on ramps because with my lower valence that the JDM comes with, I can't really get under there comfortably, so I'm gonna raise it up. All right, everyone, so this is going in. And this says, add entire bottle to engine oil fill port. Idle engine for 10 to 15 minutes and immediately drain oil, replace filter, and refill with new oil. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, everyone, I set my timer on my phone and we are ready to sit and wait for this engine flush to do its thing over the course of 15 minutes. Now, one thing I do wanna mention, no matter what vehicle you buy, whatever the previous owner says, don't believe them. Take it with a grain of salt. Buying this thing, going underneath it, proved to be that point as well. Now, I know there's instances where, an oil filter could have been shipped with this thing. He buys from a, Japan vendor, whatever. But the oil filter on this thing has nothing but Japanese writing on it. So what does that tell me? Well, the oil change probably took place in Japan versus here, which kind of matches the color of it because it's not really bright. It's not very dark, but it's not new. So always do your due diligence and check for yourself or bring it to a professional because, if someone bought a vehicle and the owner was like, yeah, I just got an oil change, and you went 10,000 kilometers or miles because you thought the oil was brand new, maybe it looked like it on the dipstick, you could cause some damage. So just be aware of that. All right, everybody, I just want to show you underneath Pajero. So as you can see here, there's the oil filter and nothing but Japanese writing on it. Now, it doesn't look like it's a brand here in North America, Ineos. I have seen it before and heard of it. So, it very well could be he got it and did it, but evidence kind of points that it hasn't. There is the oil drain pan plug, and there is the oil filter. So as you can see underneath my Pajero, it is very clean under here, very, very minimal rust. The one thing I don't understand is why Mitsubishi does not undercoat their vehicles like other vehicle manufacturers we had in Evolution. That was the same and the rust was kind of getting out of hand. Now this one is still very much savable. It's very, very surface and can be rectified. So I'm going to take action at the very latest this spring, but or next fall rather. So let's go get on to the oil change. I'm gonna let the engine sit for a while, get everything to the pan, and then I'm going to take the drain pan out. Well, actually, I'm going to change the oil filter first, and then the drain pan, and go from there, and we should be done. So stay tuned. All right, everyone. So I used these pliers. They got the job done, but I do not recommend it. I recommend getting the one that fits on it and use a ratchet because there's very little room up here. So the oil is going to drop any second. There we go. So I'll let that drain. You guys don't need to watch this, but just know that it's better to have the socket that fits on the oil filter and use that instead of anything else because there's really barely any room in here. All right, so I got her off, and you should always take some kind of rag. Make sure that the seal's still not on here and just clean this up. I have always done this. Just make sure it has a nice seal. I'll probably have to get some brake clean on there. But you guys get the idea. So I'm gonna scrape that off and then she'll be good as new. All right, everyone, sorry for the mess. I've been doing a lot up here. But needless to say, it looks like the filters are the same. They're the same depth, same width. Pretty much have the same seal in the same spot. So everything should be good to go from there. I am going to fill this up with the oil I grabbed, which is AMSOIL 530 OE, 100% synthetic. And I went on the forums and everyone recommended 530 versus 1030, which is what I think the manufacturers recommend. So, or maybe they changed it from 1030 to 530. Either way, I bought 530 because we're in a colder climate. So I'm going to fill this up, put it on the truck. The mating surface to the oil filter housing cleaned up pretty good. So I'm happy with it. So let's get to it. So here we go. Now I am going to fill this up and I'm going to dip my finger in it and lube the seal as so here. Now you want to do this obviously with a very clean finger. I've seen and heard some horror stories. So there, that should be good to go go spin on. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, everyone, oil filter is on. That was a lot easier than taking it off. There's a decent amount of room to tighten it on with your hand. For this guy, I used a wrench, and the wrench has 12 points, and it's not, I don't trust it not stripping the head on that, so I'm using a 17 hex socket, and it seems to fit very nice, so that's what I'm going to be using. All right, guys, drain plug is back in. I made a huge mess on my floor. That's water, but just all around here because the oil, it like backsplashed onto this thing and then started coming down here, and I had the oil pan here for the trajectory on the ground where it's dripping. But I did notice that my 4x4 vac line is cut. If you can see that, if it'll focus, which I don't know why it's not. Focus. There you go. She's cut, so I'm going to cut it and I'm going to put it back on using this same one because I don't have this size of vac line here anymore. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to fill it with oil. All right, everybody. This has been cut. I am going to put a zip tie around it because it is stretching more than factory. And at some point I will replace these hoses. They just go up into a hard line up there, it looks like. But for now, this will hold just fine. I'll put a zip tie on it and call it a day. All right, everyone. I made way too much of a mess, not knowing where the oil was gonna go. So we are finally at the stage of putting oil in. So I'm gonna need both hands for this. I am using a funnel, and it should go pretty quick. This is like the perfect pouring size. It's not too small, not too big. And according to online, this takes 4.9 liters. Now, a lot of the information out there is on the single overhead cam engines. This is a dual overhead cam engine. It should take probably a little bit more oil, but between the two of them, all I found was 4.9 liters. So here goes nothing. Obviously, we got the dipstick to measure, but I did get more oil. I think I got 5.6 liters, which should be more than enough, but here we go. All right, so I put, basically 4.9 liters in there. I don't know if you guys can catch it on the stick here, but it's just a tad over the fill mark. We are on a slant, which is leading back to this. So I'm gonna start the engine, let it run. I'm probably gonna back it up and remeasure after I put the skid plate on. So I'll wait for that. All right, guys, so as you know, this vehicle is from Japan. I don't think they see temperatures like we do here in Canada. It gets up to minus 40 some nights, degrees Celsius. So I had to order a oil pan heater. It was either that or going through the trouble and putting the block heater in this. And a lot of people stand by these more so than block heaters because this heats the engine from the bottom up, heats your oil up. And I've had good experience with these too. So I'm gonna slap this on. What are the odds it comes as I'm doing the oil change? It's perfect opportunity. It's like I planned it or something, right? But anyway, I'm gonna slap this on, then we're gonna check the level in that thing. The pad is on. It's like a 4x6 or a 5x7 250 watt pad, and this is the brand and the model. Got this off Amazon, it was about $100, CP512. And I just gotta apply the silicone to around the edge to make it waterproof. And here's the cord. I zip tied it to the solid part of the rack and just basically went up there, dodging the belt drive and the steering column, steering shaft. So we should be in business. Here's to warming my vehicle in cold temperatures. That's just nifty. So let's finish the oil change. All right, guys. It looks like 4.9 liters is the number. It's right, freaking camera. It's right on the full mark. So that's perfect. So we got the oil change done. Got the oil pan heater on. Today's a good day. I have received a bunch of stuff in the mail for this thing. I got a new radiator just because this one's starting to look aged. So I'll have one on hand in case this one decides to pop. I know color doesn't really mean anything, but I don't know how old this one is. And if it cracked, I wouldn't want to be stranded. So that's why I bought a radiator. I bought all radiator hoses. I know too well JDMs with soft radiator hoses. And there's the rest of the heater pad cord. It is out of the way of everything, as you can see. There's a bracket there. I tied it to the rad support here. And it's just chilling here. So oil's changed, everybody. There's really not much of this engine I could find on YouTube. There is a bunch of diesel. So anyway, I hope you appreciate it. Hope I wish I found a video that kind of pointed stuff out, knew where stuff was, knew what the sizes were, etc., etc. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. All right. Peace, everybody.